Hello everyone. Welcome you all for this next video, which is again based on Java IO operations and its corresponding assignments. So in last session, we have seen 6 Java IO assignments that we have implemented. But in this, we'll be moving ahead to go on implementing some interesting entities about Java IO only. So let me share the screen. So here it's the next problem statement where write a Java program to create a directory mydir. And in theoretical session, we have seen like in Java, file is the class which is representing the directory objects also. And in that directory, we need to create a file as test.txt and accept the content to be written into the file from the user and write contents into the file and close the output stream. So basically we need to write into the file and then by opening the input stream, read the contents of the file and display the contents on the console. So let's see how we can move ahead with this. So this particular code, I'll be just saving it as create a new class and I'll be giving the name as, let us say, file 5. Right. Inside this, we'll go with file class, which belongs to java.io. And let us say file dir is equal to new file. And let's give the name to the directory as mydir. This will be the name of my directory, right? Okay. And to create a directory, we need dir.mkdir command. Right. So mkdir, this is the function call, but you might have seen mkdir as a command in Linux system. So now inside this directory, we need to create one new file. So let us say one more file. I need file is equal to, or to avoid the confusion, let us say file f1 is equal to new file. And this time I'll be using this particular constructor where I want to create it inside the directory and the name of my file is, let us say, test.txt. Right. Okay. And then I'll say f1 dot create a new file. So when you are trying to create a new file, it may give you an error of access denial. So unexpected unhandled exception of type IO exception. So यहाँ पे instead of handling the exception, we go on, let us say, throwing exception. Throwing exceptions, right? Okay. Now, with respect to this file, let us do some write operation and the data to be written into the file, we need to accept it from the user. So you can either go with buffer reader or you can go with the scanner also. So here says out, enter string to be written into file. Okay, this time we'll go with the buffer reader. So we know buffer reader as buffer reader br is equal to new buffer reader. It is in need of new input stream reader, which is in need of a support of system.in, right? Next to that, what we'll do is we'll accept the string str is equal to br dot read line. So the string to be written into the file is now in str. So after this, what we'll do is, in this case, we need a file writer. So I'll be going with the file writer and file writer fw is equal to new file writer. किस फाइल में राइट करना है तो f1 में, right? Okay, and I'll ask this fw dot write. What to write? I want to write a string into the file and the string is present in str, and then I'll say fw dot close. Let us try to understand and try to run this code. यहाँ पे एक sys out करते हैं. write success to check whether the control of the program is able to reach at this place or not. So I'm running this, enter the string to be written into the file. So let us write a string into the file as I am writing string into the file, right? And it gives me write success. That means it must have written the string into the file. Let's go on checking it. अपना जो टेस्ट पेस है वो टेस्ट है. इस केस में जावा आईओ असाइनमेंट्स. प्लीज ऑब्जर्व माई डी आई आर. माई डी आई आर के अंदर द टेस्ट एज अ फाइल एंड this is what the contents that we have written into the file. So इस फाइल से इन्हीं contents को अब हमको read करना है. So what we'll do is let's add it into the same code. So this time we are in need of reader, right? Okay, so let's see. So file reader, and I'll ask this file reader fr to work on the file known as f1 dot file known as f1, right? Okay, now fr dot अगर read के functions देखते हैं तो string read करने वाला अपने पास function नहीं है. So what we'll need is हम लोग इसको cover करेंगे buffer reader से. One more buffer reader object I'll be taking. br1 is equal to new buffer reader, and इस केस में उसको reader पास करेंगे, that is file reader. So file reader से read किया हुआ content can be buffered by buffer reader, and this time we'll say like string new str is equal to br1 dot read line, right? Okay, and यहाँ पे sys out करेंगे file contents are, right? And plus इस str को display कर देंगे, right? Sorry, new str को display कर देंगे. That is what we are reading from the file, right? New str, and followed by that I will close br1 dot close, and यहाँ पे access out करते हैं read operation success, right? Okay, let's see. I am writing into file. Write is success and file contents are I am writing into the file, and obviously read operation is also success. So this is again with the help of character streaming. We are writing into the file as well as we are able to read from the file. And please observe, this particular file is stored inside the directory. So this code gives us multiple wisdom levels of how to create a directory, how to create a file inside it, how to perform read and write operations, right? So let's move into the next one. So next code says that write a Java program to copy contents of one file into another file. Accept the source and destination file names from command line arguments. Open a source file and read its contents and write it into the another file. So let's give a try for implementation of this. So this is a copy command implementation code. Copy command implementation करते वक्त we are in need of source file as well as destination file also. So those source file and destination file we will be passing with the help of command line arguments. So this code I'll be doing it with file 6, right? And सबसे पहले एक काम करते हैं कि source file का name and destination का file का name will collect it from the command line argument. So I'll be going with src file is equal to args of 0. Here I'm not taking care of exception handling because of array index out of bound. While running this code, will be taking care of passing the two arguments to this. उसमें से पहला argument अपना होगा source file name and string destination file is equal to args of 1, right? Okay, now source file से reading करना है, so we are in need of a reader. So file reader fr is equal to new file reader, and here we'll giving the name of what? Source file, from which we supposed to read it, right? Okay, it always suffer with the exception, that is file not found exceptions. इसके लिए हम लोग करेंगे throws declarations. So यहाँ पे exception को throw करेंगे, so that exception will not interrupt us again and again in this process, right? Okay, so सोर्स फाइल को रीड करना है, बट उसमें से हम लोगों को पूरा का पूरा लाइन को रीड करना है, एक पूरे लाइन को रीड करना है. सो इन दैट केस व्हाट विल डू इज, और दिस आल्सो कैन बी डन इज fr डॉट रीड देखते हैं. So it gives us the facility of reading one entity at a time, right? Okay, so and the character read or -1 if it is the end of the stream has been reached. So in this case what we'll do is एक राइटर भी क्रिएट करते हैं तुरंत, फाइल राइटर, एंड विल गो विथ fw इज इक्वल टू न्यू फाइल राइटर, एंड उसको पास करेंगे द फाइल नेम एज डेस्टिनेशन फाइल. सो अपने पास फाइल रीडर एज वेल एज फाइल राइटर प्रेजेंट है. सो विल गो विथ n, एंड व्हाट विल डू इज while if n is equal to fr dot रीड करेंगे ये कंटेंट, इफ इट इज नॉट इक्वल टू -1, तब तक हम लोग जो कंटेंट रीड किए हैं वो राइट करते जाएंगे, राइट? सो do it something like this, right? So we need to write that into fr dot write, sorry, fw dot write, and we'll keep on writing it into the file, right? Okay, so fr dot close followed by fw dot close. Let's see. And यहाँ पे if the control comes at this position, we'll be displaying the message that file copy operation is successful, right? Okay, so let's see how we can do this. Oh, it again suffers with array index out of bound. That is what we discussed, that हम लोगों ने वो exception यहाँ पे handle नहीं किया. So what we'll do is we'll go here with run configuration, and अभी जो file create किया है हम लोगों ने, let us say that is test.txt, and destination file create करना है test1.txt, right? Apply करते पहले close करते हैं. Let us see like test नाम का फाइल अपने यहाँ पे प्रेजेंट है क्या? ओके, यहाँ पे एक फाइल प्रेजेंट है file2 नाम का, तो वो यूज करता है. So I'll be going inside this again, run configuration. यहाँ पे arguments में पास कर रहा हूँ file2.txt, copy it into test1.txt. apply करते हैं, run करते हैं, and it says file copy operation is successful. तो check करते हैं यहाँ पे जाके. Please observe test1 is created, and test1 के अंदर, and I'll just open this also, right? Okay, please see, this is source file file2 Java is simple, and test1 के अंदर भी आ चुका है Java is simple. I hope these things are clear now. How to work on the source file for read operation, and how to work on destination file for write operations, right? So this is the code through which we are able to copy one file contents into the another file. So let us see the next one. The next assignment says that write a Java program to perform append operations on the file. So append operations means we can go on writing into the file by keeping the existing content as it is, right? We'll be using file writer for writing into the file, and the content to be appended into the file must be accepted with the help of buffer reader. So let's see. We have already created one file. Let me show you. file 2 is already there which has the content as Java is simple. इस फाइल में लिखने की कोशिश करेंगे, right? Okay, append operation करने की कोशिश करते हैं. So what we'll do is, here I'll go with inside the package 1, I'll create a new class and let's keep the name as file 7. And in this case, let's create a file writer. File writer fw is equal to new file writer, and we want to work on file2.txt, right? Okay, followed by, when you want to perform the append operation, you need to mention true after the file name, so that the file, if it has already some contents into it and it is present on the disk, then the new file is not created, and in this case existing file will perform the append operations on. So here, with respect to the exception, we'll go on declaring the exception, throws exception, and in this case we'll use buffer reader. So this is like almost 4th to 5th time that we are using the buffer reader. New buffer reader, we need to pass new input stream reader and we need to pass system.in, right? Will from the user enter string to be appended in file, right? And will accept that string with the help of br.readline and fw dot write operation करते हैं by writing the string into file. And let's close fw, close, and let's put a message that write success. Let's see. Java is really simple. Okay, यहाँ पे write success आ रहा है, मतलब this much code is getting executed till we reach to write success. So let's see like append operation has been performed or not onto this file. So if I open this file, please observe Java is simple was the earlier content, and then we have written Java is really simple, right? Okay, one more time we'll run the code and try to see whether append operation is happening one more time or not, right? CCPP is also very interesting, right? This is the string that I want to write into the file. Let's check out the file again. And please see that CCPP is also very interesting. This code is added into the, this string is appended into the file. So this is how we can go on performing the append operation with the help of file writer, right? Okay, so let's see the next one. So in this case, write a Java program to read the contents from 2 source files and write it into 1 destination file using sequence input stream, right? And display the contents of destination file after the write operations. So let's see like how we can go on implementing this. For that purpose, what we'll do is we need 2 files. For example, here we have one file as test1 file, Java is simple, and file 2 may will go with writing something as C is interesting, right? Okay, C is interesting, and we'll save it, right? Okay, so test1 and file 2, these are the 2 files that we supposed to read, and we are going to pass or write its input into the next file. Let's give the name to that file as file3.txt, right? कैसे implement करना है? Let's go on working on to this. Inside package 1, I'll go on creating a class, and this class I'll give name as file8, right? In this, we'll go with the main, right? Here I need a file input stream, fis1 or file1 is equal to new file input stream, and here I'll be giving the name as test.txt. Let me check whether the file name is test.txt or test1 and file2. Okay, so this is test1, test1.txt, and here I'll go with file input stream. This is file2 is equal to new file input stream, and here I have file2.txt, right? Okay. Now, for avoiding the issues about the exception, I'll just declare the exception so that, right, these things are more clear, right? Okay, now I need to go with sequence input stream. So here in this case, if you observe the problem statement, it says sequence input stream, right? So here we'll go with sequence input stream SIS is equal to new sequence input stream, right? And here I'll go with file1 as well as file2, right? Okay. Now, if I want to write something, this data into the another file, I need a file output stream. Let us say, let's mention this as file3 or FOS is equal to new file input, file output stream, and we'll be copying this into destination.txt file, right? Okay. And we'll ask while n is equal to SIS dot read, if it is not equal to -1, then FOS dot write into the file, and the contents are written, right? Okay, followed by that FOS dot close, and then I need to close the SIS dot close also, right? Okay, and then we'll say sys out as operation successful, right? Let's go on checking. It goes on giving us the output as operation success, means till this point everything is working, right? Okay, let me check. A destination file is created. Let's open this, and it consists of Java is simple and C is interesting, where test1 में Java is simple is there, and file1 में file2 में C is interesting, and destination में copy हुआ Java is simple and C is interesting. I hope this thing is clear, right? So sequence input stream ने multiple files का data read करके एक destination file में write कर दिया, right? Okay, so let's move into the next one. So next code is about serialization process. So we know like what the serialization is. When we want to preserve the object along with its states in persistent memory area, then we are in need of serialization process. And when we are removing that object along with its states from the file, then the process is known as deserialization, right? Before moving into this code, I'll recommend you to go on reading the notebook and the topic serialization that we covered in our already in our theory sessions, right? So here, let's see the implementation about this process. So what I'll do is, will create a new code as in package 1, new code as serialize demo 1, right? And in this case, we'll go with the main. Let us assume that the object to be serialized is object of type student with the two properties as roll number and string name, right? Okay. And what we'll do is we'll construct an object new student s1 dot roll number, let's assign it to 7, and s1 dot name, let's assign it to Prasad, right? Okay, and we'll say this out as before serialization. Here I'll say roll number is plus s1 dot roll number and name is plus s1 dot name, right? Okay. So now when I run this much of the code, I'll be able to see before serialization, roll number of this student object is 7 and name assigned is Prasad, right? Okay. Now let's try to serialize it into the file. Let's give the name as the file as serial.txt, right? So first thing that we need to create a file. So for creation of the file, I'll use java.io.file object, file class, and file f1 is equal to new file, and यहाँ पे I'll mention it as serial.txt, right? Okay, then इस file में हमको write करना है byte by byte, so I am in need of file output stream fos is equal to new file output stream, इसको read करना है इस file में जो कि reference है f1, right? Okay, the moment you create this, it suffers with the exception wala entity, and यहाँ पे will just get rid of this by declaration of exception, right? Okay, and then to write the bytes into the file, the bytes are present in the object form. So object form में से byte form में convert करना, we need object output stream. Object output stream OS is equal to new object output stream and उसको pass करेंगे FOS, right? Okay, and then I'll say object output stream का the method as write object, and this write object will be willing to write the S1, and यहाँ पे access out करते हैं OS को close करके we'll go with the sys out as object serialized successfully, right? Okay, so now let's try to run this. यहाँ पे एक error आने वाला है जो हम लोगों ने theory session में देखा, right? Okay, it says that the object that you want to serialize is not a serializable, so इसने एक not serializable exception raise किया है, right? So in this case, this serializable exception को manage करने के लिए the object that we want to serialize into the file that must go on implements java.io.serializable interface, right? As this interface is the marker interface, we don't have to implement any method of this, right? Okay, and now let's run the code again, and it says object serialized successfully. Now when we come into this, यहाँ पे ये नया ऑब्जेक्ट कंस्ट्रक्ट हुआ, सॉरी नया फाइल कंस्ट्रक्ट हुआ serial.txt. इफ आई ओपन दिस इट इज बाइट स्ट्रीमिंग, सो यहाँ पे आपको दिख रहा है एटलीस्ट पैकेज 1 का स्टूडेंट, इसका रोल नंबर हम लोगों ने प्रिजर्व किया एज वेल एज इसका नेम हम लोगों ने प्रिजर्व किया, एंड द नेम इज प्रसाद. So these are some indications through which we could be able to see that really the object gets serialized into the file, right? Deserialization process is completely reverse of this. I want to extract it from the same file. So I need file input stream and file input stream, let us say FIS is equal to new file input stream, and I'll be passing F1 to it, right? Then object input stream, I need object input stream, and I'll go with OIS is equal to new object input stream, and I'll be passing FIS to it, right? Okay, now when we want to read the object from this OIS, so in that case, I'll be taking that object into another reference, that is, let us say S2. So S2 is equal to OIS dot read object करके method use करेंगे, right? But as this read object is returning the object of type object, we need to convert it to the type of student. So it gives us error of type mismatch, cannot convert from object to student. तो यहाँ पे रिटर्न किया हुआ ऑब्जेक्ट आपको किस फॉर्म में चाहिए, तो स्टूडेंट फॉर्म में. सो वी नीड एक्सप्लिसिट टाइप कास्टिंग ओवर हियर, राइट? ओके, एंड देन विल से OIS डॉट क्लोज, एंड यहाँ पे करेंगे sys out deserialization done, right? Okay, and what I need to check out is before serialization जो उसके कंटेंट्स थे ऑब्जेक्ट के, वही कंटेंट्स आफ्टर सीरियलाइजेशन आ रहे हैं या नहीं वो चेक करता है. सो हियर आई विल गो विद आफ्टर डीसीरियलाइजेशन रोल नंबर इज दिस टाइम S2 में कलेक्ट किया है, तो S2 डॉट रोल नंबर एंड S2 डॉट नेम, राइट? ओके, लेट्स रन द कोड and it says, please observe, after deserialization the roll number is 7 and the name is Prasad. Then while discussing this in the theory session, we have also discussed that if we want to skip certain states of an object from serialization process, skipping करने के लिए we need to make the state as transient, right? For example, यहाँ पे roll number को transient करने के बाद if I run the same code, I'll be able to say that roll number is not getting preserved, and वो जब deserialize होके आ रहा है तो integer का return value मुझे मिल रहा है, that is what default values of integer, right? Now in this case, if we observe serial.txt very carefully, हम लोग उसको open with करेंगे, let us say notepad. Okay, some अलग things it goes on showing me, some other way से open करेंगे, open through another. Okay, I guess we don't have WordPad or in this machine. So if we keep on opening this through this, it shows us weird Chinese characters anyway. But already we have seen it in theory sessions that यहाँ पे वो roll number store नहीं हो रहा है, right? The moment I perform this as a transient, then both of the states are skipped from the serialization process, and here I get null after the deserialization, right? So transient is the keyword used only for the serialization process, and if we use the transient keyword, then the states are skipped from the serialization process that we have seen, right? Okay, so next let's move into the next code. Next code is all about again the serialization, पर यहाँ पे serialization with is a and has a relationship हम लोग next दो code में देखने वाले हैं. So let's see, this code is serialization with is a relationship. Define is a relationship with employee and manager class. Try to serialize the manager object and check properties of serialization against is a relationship, right? तो is a relationship के साथ can we go with serialization process, वो हम लोगों को यहाँ पे चेक करना है, right? So in this case, I'll go with the class as serialized demo 2, right? In this case, we'll go with main method, and यहाँ पे करते हैं class employee. इसके अंदर I'll just go on putting two variables, integer empid, and we'll go with string name, right? And class manager, and here we go with integer salary, right? ऐसे ये कोड इनहेरिटेंस में हम लोगों ने किया था. And to have the easier relationship, we need to go on class manager extends employee, right? Okay, now manager का object कंस्ट्रक्ट करना है. Manager is equal to manager m1 is equal to new manager, and this time in this case we'll be passing empid as 1, name of the manager as, let's say, Ganesh, and his salary is 10,000. Obviously it will give us the problem because there is no constructor inside manager class. So manager class mein we'll go on mentioning empid, then we have string name, and then integer salary, right? Okay, यहाँ पे super से empid and name will pass into the employee constructor, and this dot salary is equal to pass किया हुआ salary, right? Okay, and in employee we'll have the constructor integer empid string name, and यहाँ पे we'll go with the constructor as this dot empid is equal to pass किया हुआ empid, and इस object का name is equal to pass किया हुआ name, right? Okay, I hope this is clear. There's no new thing into this. Already we have done this with respect to inheritance, right? Okay, now the next one is इस ऑब्जेक्ट को सीरियलाइज करने की कोशिश करेंगे, राइट? सो लेट्स सी कि सीरियलाइजेशन अगर मैनेजर का करता हूं तो उस केस में एम्प्लॉय के स्टेट्स भी सीरियलाइज हो रहे हैं या नहीं, उसको हम लोग चेक करेंगे, राइट? ओके, सो let's go with the serialization process here. So I'll go with file F1, file F1 is equal to new file, and यहाँ पे I'll go with serial2.txt, right? Okay, and इस फाइल में लिखना है फाइल output stream FOS is equal to new file output stream and F1, right? Okay, to get rid of exception, I'll keep on throwing the exceptions from the main. Declare करते हैं throws exception, right? Okay, and then we need object output stream OS is equal to new object output stream, and यहाँ पे पास करेंगे FOS, right? Okay, and then OS dot write object करेंगे, and we want to write M1, right? Okay, and यहाँ पे sys out करते हैं object serialized successfully, right? Okay, and when I run this again, I'll come across the same error, that is not serializable exception, right? Okay, so यहाँ पे अभी serialize किसको करना है, मैनेजर को या एम्प्लॉय को? So what we'll do is let's go on implements serializable, right? Okay, अगर मैनेजर serialize कर रहा है and if we try to run this, then please see object serialized successfully, ये तो हो रहा है, right? Okay, now let's check what we get after the deserialization process, right? Okay, so here I'll go with file input stream FIS is equal to new file input stream, and in this case object input stream OIS is equal to new object input stream, and we'll pass FIS to it, right? Okay, and manager M2 is equal to null, and then we'll say M2 is equal to OIS dot. We need to use read object. Definitely we need to typecast it to of type manager so that it can get referred by M2. And then I'll say OIS dot close. ऊपर भी OS भी क्लोज करते हैं. So, and here we'll say sysout deserialization is done, right? Okay, and after this we'll try to sysout M2 dot AMP ID M2 dot name and M2 dot salary, right? Okay, so if I run the code, please observe what it says, right? So object serialized successfully, and it says that invalid class exception, right? No valid constructor of type manager, right? So in this case, now if we try to do something like this, इसको यहाँ से निकाल के, if I keep it here, let's say what it says, implements, and we see. So in this case, it is very clear that जो भी ऑब्जेक्ट हमको सीरियलाइज करना है, उसका जिस ऑब्जेक्ट के साथ इज अ रिलेशनशिप है, दैट ऑब्जेक्ट मस्ट बी द सीरियलाइजेबल, राइट? ओके, and then only we can go on proceeding towards the serialization process. So this is the rule about is a relationship. Let us go on checking it with respect to has a relationship, right? So next code says that serialization with has a relationship. एम्प्लॉय एंड मैनेजर तो यहाँ पे डिफाइन ऑलरेडी किया है हम लोगों ने, उसी कोड को यूज करेंगे. also define the class address which will have has a relationship with manager class, and try to serialize the manager object and check properties of serialization against is and has a relationship, right? Okay, so what we'll do is इस केस में हम लोग और एक क्लास डिफाइन करते हैं, लेट अस से क्लास एड्रेस, एंड यहाँ पे विल गो ऑन पुटिंग एड्रेस में string as what city, right? Okay, and in manager address, let us say A1, and here we'll go with string city, and जो यहाँ पे है A1 dot city is equal to pass किया हुआ city, right? Okay, or you can write it something like this, इस object का A1 का city is equal to pass किया हुआ city, right? Okay, so while constructing this object, we need a small change here, that will be passing the city as let us say Pune, right? Okay, and we'll try to work on, यहाँ पे ये sys out करेंगे M2 dot A1 dot CT, right? So that it can go on displaying the CT, right? So if I try to go with this, it says cannot assign the field CT because this dot A1 is null. So it generates the exception as null pointer exception at line number 31. Okay, so what we can do is A1 is equal to new address. Yes. And let's check out. Now it says that not a serializable exception, right? Okay. So in this case, if this manager का object you want to serialize, तो उसका जिस भी object के साथ has a relationship है, वो object भी serializable होना चाहिए. So in this case, we need to go on saying something as implements serializable, right? Okay. And now if I run the code, let's see, and it is able to store the address wala object also as one of the state of this manager object. I hope this is clear, right? Okay, so this is all about the IO operations where we have seen how the streams can be used, how the file handling can be used, various operations with the file handling, as well as how the serialization process is going to work in this case, right? That's all for the IOs, and see you in the next assignment where we'll be moving towards the set of problem statement related to multi-threading.